What's up, everyone? I'm Travis, and you're watching a special end of the year episode of Upgraded RC. So this video is going to consist of a look back at the upgrades that we did to these two awesome rigs here. Basically a recap of what worked and what didn't work. And then I'm also going to let you guys in on my upgraded 2021 season, the schedule, what I have scheduled right now, immediate for upgrades to these two. And is there another one in the future? There might be. So guys, I just want to take the whole year 2020 and just kick it right off the damn planet. But I'd have to say some good things came out of 2020 as well. I mean, let's face it, the toilet paper companies made a ton of money, and we all got this new face covering we got to wear now, which is very decorative, and you can design it any way you want to. There's all kinds of colors. I mean, it's kind of like a face accessory. Besides that, guys, I did plenty of upgrades to the eRevo 2.0. We purchased our SCX 10.3 JT Gladiator and did a bunch of upgrades to this. And we also went out with the 970 Crawlers Club and filmed Crawlzilla at BFE. That was awesome. If you guys haven't watched that yet, go watch that. That benefits soldiers with PTSD, and it's a great video. Other than that, guys, let's go ahead and get on with this recap so I can tell you guys what we did and what worked and what didn't. All of these new upgrades I've got lined up, you guys are going to love it. Stay tuned. So our first upgrade video for the 2020 season was on the eRevo 2.0, and it was based on suspension. It's called the entire suspension system, completely explained on the eRevo 2.0. Why did I do this? Well, I had a lot of people commenting and asking me, a lot of requests to do a video on suspension. Now, the eRevo 2.0 suspension system is completely different than most of your conventional suspension that mounts vertically. The eRevo suspension system is modeled after the IndyCar, and the suspension is mounted horizontally on the top. So I wanted everybody to know exactly how this system worked so that you'd be able to tune your suspension to correctly get the most amount of performance out of your vehicle. So when you hit a rock with your tire and it transfers the force or that energy up through your control arm, to your rocker arm, to your suspension, I mean, I wanted you guys to understand exactly how it works. And I also go through and talk about the spring rates and the oil weights and the different pistons and everything. And wow, that really does help, guys. You know, if you can't keep your tire on the ground due to good suspension tuning, you'll never get all the power from your motor to your tire to transfer to the ground and help propel you forward with that little bit of extra performance because your suspension was tuned right. Suspension is a huge thing, guys. I mean, I've done 3 videos on suspension this year alone. 1 on this and 2 on this. And everybody just asked me, what are you doing for suspension? What do you do? You know, it all changes. It's based on the weight of the rig you're running, where you're at as far as the temperature goes. That has a huge, huge impact on your suspension as the temperature. And the other thing is, what are you trying to do with it? So you've got weight, and you've got temperature, and you've got what you're trying to do with it. You know, are you trying to jump over a house, or are you just trying to keep this tire in the groove on some whoops so you get better? What are you trying to do with your suspension? So if you have any questions about your suspension on the eRevo 2.0 or an IndyCar, go watch that video. It'll help you out a lot. I really think it's very important to tune your suspension. The next video we did in 2020 was on the eRevo 2.0 as well. And it was our RPM body savers and bumpers. So after I ran my car for several months, guys, I ended up noticing that when you hit something with a stock bumper after a while, the front of your body starts ripping, and you'll notice that this body will rip up and it'll be stuck underneath your bumper like this. So you've got to kind of move it and push it back down. And the bumper was only so wide from Traxxas, the stock one. So I decided to go with a little bit wider one from RPM. I ran it for several months, and you know what? I didn't have any more rips getting any bigger. It really seemed to help out. So I wanted to make a video about that and tell you guys how well this bumper worked out and how well the body savers have worked out for me as well. I mean, before I had some large washers with some Allens on there, It stopped all of those little stress cracks that you get around your bolt, but with these, I haven't really had any. And I mean, I gotta be honest with you guys, I haven't went out and bashed this near as much as I'd like to, but I did have several good wrecks, enough to tell you that these body savers help out a lot, and this bumper definitely did its job. Now, in the very next video I did, it was for the bumper mount. This is quite a bit larger mount than the stock eRevo mount. I don't remember where I got it from. I think it was off of a T-Max or something like that, but watch that video. The bumper mount is twice the size of the stock one, which gives you more area to compress your bumper before it hits the body, thus saving you body damage. It worked out great. All of the body savers, the bumpers, and the bumper mount really helped save my body tremendously. I definitely recommend that, guys. Now, our next video was also on the eRevo 2.0, and it is talking about heat. It was pretty hot then, sometime around July or August, I can't remember, but everybody was wanting to know what I'm doing for the heat. What kind of fan am I running? Well, I did go out and I got a fan here. I got one of the cheaper fans, and it seemed to work out pretty good for me, but I noticed when it was sitting there and the fan was running and I wasn't running, I could feel the heat coming out from underneath the fenders in the front and the back, and I'm wondering how this is working because my fan is drawing all of the heat down from the top. It sucks down from the top and then it dissipates over your motor to cool it. So I started thinking about it for a while, and wow, all of your heat gets trapped up here in the top of this cab. There's no way to really get it out. I know you've got airflow coming in here and you've got airflow exiting here, but you seem to have a certain amount of air that gets trapped up in here, and when your fan is sucking down from up here in the top of your cab, it's sucking hot air and putting it back onto your motor. So you're really just blowing hot air around, you're not really dissipating that much heat. So that's where this video came from. I went ahead and installed the fan, and we did several different hood scoops and all kinds of stuff before I figured out what I wanted to do. And the easiest way to get the heat out of the cab was to add these two ducts right here, one on either side of the cab, so that as the air comes in underneath your fender here, it swirls and goes around, and everything up here on the top, all this hot air gets blown or sucked out by these ducts helping evacuate it. That helped out so much, guys. I did tests on this, and with these ducts installed and the fan on, we were able to drop our temperature by 10 degrees. Now that's quite a bit on the eRevo 2.0 in the middle of the summer that's putting out a ton of heat off this motor. So that really helped me out. I think it helped you guys out too, because that was a knockout of the park as well. Everybody thought that was a great video and commented how it helped them out as well. So if you have problems with your heat, go ahead and do that upgrade. That one was a winner. We'll give that the thumbs up. Right after that, guys, it was about September 6th, I believe, and the eRevo, or the SCX-10.3 JT Gladiator finally came into my hobby store. I was waiting on this for quite a few months, and I knew that he was going to get 6 in, 3 red and 3 gray, and I really wanted a gray. I happened to be there the same day, the exact time that the FedEx guy was unloading these off the truck into the hobby shop, and I grabbed one right then before he even put it on the shelf. So I was so glad to bring this home from the hobby shop and start planning out my attack on the upgrades and the way I'm going to do them. You know, guys, I'm a huge Jeep fan. I've been wheeling Jeeps most of my natural life. I've owned 7 Jeeps to date. I loved them all. They were great. None of them remain stock. I modified all of them and wheeled the hell out of all of them. The problem with the real Jeep, and I've heard this term many times, and I used to think that the word Jeep meant just empty every pocket, which is what I was doing. I mean, if you break something on this, like say an axle, you're out 10 bucks. If you break something on a real Jeep, you're out like $2,500, $3,500. So this was kind of my escape, my exit to get out of the real Jeep world, and I'm not done with it yet though, and get back into this RC Jeep world because I could do so many more things with it. My money's gonna go so much farther. And a little trivia question, by the way, guys, Jeep, just so you know, Jeep means just enough essential parts. That's what the government labeled it, and that's what they wanted our soldiers to be running around in. So there you go. Jeep is just enough essential parts. Well, I'm completely blowing that away. I'm going to go with just enough essential upgrades, which is everything. So we started out upgrading this, the very first thing we did, and I took a little bit of time to think about this, and I still believe this is the best bang for the buck, the best upgrade I've done so far. We changed out the pinion on the motor from a 14 tooth to an 11. That really slowed our wheel speed down, gave us a lot better climbing ability, more stability. That was an awesome upgrade. If you have not done that yet and you're really into crawling, not so much of the trail stuff, change your pinion to an 11. You will lose some wheel speed, but you are going to gain so much more stability and climbing ability. Now, number 2 on our video upgrades for this, we went ahead and made it wider. I'm sorry, I keep looking back at my screen here because I can't remember which order the videos were in that I've done all these videos. But anyway, our second video here was on making our stance a little bit wider. So we installed the RC 4-wheel drive 15mm wheel spacers to give us a little bit wider stance. Now, what did this take our stance to? This took our stance to just a hair under 1.25 inches wider than stock. This helped us out a lot. There's a lot of places you guys have probably noticed when you're trying to wheel and it seems like you keep falling into these holes or these pockets. If you were just a little bit wider, you could have stayed on top and got through the obstacle a little bit easier. That's what this was for. Wow, the wheel spacers are really helping here, guys. It's helping out a lot, nice and wide. It also helped us when we were side hilling. We got a little bit wider stance, so we're not as apt to fall over quite as easily. It gave us a better stability on side hills and other places like that. So that was a great upgrade. It was pretty cheap, and I would definitely recommend it. I've had no problems or issues with the wheel spacers whatsoever since then. So our next video was video number 3 on the JT Gladiator, and we were talking about mounting up your pit bull tires onto some G-made 3-piece aluminum beadlock wheels. So I did this video because I've heard so many horror stories about people mounting up their tires and they can't seem to get it over the wheel, so they've got to use oil or they've got to use some longer bolts to suck it down first, then pull them out, put the other ones back in. I've just heard so many horror stories on how hard it was to change these out. I wanted to show you guys how easy it really was. So in this video, I showed you how to cut the foam correctly and install the pit bulls on your G-made wheels. And you know what? These worked out great, guys. These were awesome tires. But I did end up going with the Hyrax tires just because the terrain where I'm at and the area that I'm at, this was a way better all-around tire for what I've got around here. It seems to get around better. But I'm going to be doing a video in the future on tires. So I'm probably going to be buying several different tires between now and then so I can test them all out and tell you guys how each tire worked on the terrain that it was tested in. So that's coming up. Anyway, pit bulls, they're great. They're awesome tires. Switched them out for the Hyrax just because they're a little bit better for around here, but I will be running these again as well as many other different sets, and we got a video coming up on that. So that was our pit bull tires. Moving on to video number 4, which was the upgrade number 4 for this, which was, guess what? Suspension. I told you there was another suspension video out there. So on this video number 4, I went ahead and showed you guys the stock suspension on the JT Gladiator and the SCX 10.3, they're the same exact suspension, how to upgrade your suspension to get more performance out of it. And once again, this went back into the weight of the oil, it went into the springs, went to the pistons, and it went to your sag, your preloader sag. The end of that video, if you guys are interested in preloader sag, how to set your vehicle up the way you're supposed to, watch this video. The very end of it discusses preload and sag immensely, the way that it's supposed to be explained, the way that it's supposed to be done, or at least I'm telling you guys what I know about it so you can take my knowledge and gather it and come up with your own answer or whatever you want to do there. But anyway, that video was awesome on suspension, and it was really good on the preload and sag. So that was video number 4. Video number 5, let me turn around here and see what we got. On video number 5, that's right, we were worried about our Panhard Bar Mount, that plastic mount that they've got on there. I guess it's actually made out of nylon. From everything I've heard and seen from people, the Panhard Bar Mount on the side of your shock tower here is the worst link on the vehicle that comes with stock. It seems to break when you get in tight situations where your tire's up against a bank here on this side and you're trying to turn. Well, your Panhard bar is what supports everything from your axle to your frame. So when you're putting stress against your tire, it transfers the stress through your Panhard bar to your Panhard Bar Mount into the frame. Well, the Panhard Bar Mount was really weak. So I was looking around for an aluminum one, and you get them. There's plenty of aluminum Panhard Bar mounts out there that fit the SCX 10.3 for around $8-9. But in my ventures of looking for that, I noticed that Terrell had a shock tower with an integrated Panhard Bar mount in it. And wow, it looked really good. I started thinking about it. Instead of having all these bolts in here where you're holding on your shock towers and your Panhard Bar mount, this was all one piece. How can you go wrong with one piece? It is so rigid. And I got to tell you guys, I've been wheeling the hell out of it since then. I have had no issues with the Panhard Bar mount, with the shock towers, anything. And these shock towers gave me so many more adjustable points for my suspension to be able to mount my suspension. I believe there's 12 points to mount in the front, and I think there was 8 in the rear. So you can really set your shock up exactly where you want it. High, low, medium, left, right, middle. That was a super good upgrade. Very strong, very good product. I like Terrell stuff. They really put out a good product. So that helped out a lot. And then that ended our top 5 upgrade video series for the SCX 10.3 and started our continued upgrades video series for the SCX 10.3 JT Gladiator. So our number 6 video, starting out with the continued video series, was on our brass diff covers. So I've been waiting for these brass diff covers from Hot Racing for quite a while. They finally came in. And when they came in, I was putting them on, I decided, you know what, I absolutely hate the color of this axle, this black plastic, stock looking axle from Axials. So I went ahead and took it all apart. I cleaned it out really good. I painted it. I installed the parts. I re-greased the parts using the Blue Rock Vanquish Rock Lube. And then I went ahead and installed our diff covers and ran some videos and tests on it. It helped out so much. The extra weight of the brass diff covers really got our tires to stick to the ground quite a bit better than they were doing before. I noticed I was able to climb a lot steeper hills and get over a lot harder obstacles without my tires wanting to come up in the air. This also did help our side hilling as well quite a bit. Now, when we move on to video number 7 here, we're talking about the foam in the tires. And this is where I had jumped over to the Hyrax tires maybe a month before, and I'd ran them several times, and I really liked the way they were performing, but it seemed like the foam was just a little bit too soft for me. So I went ahead and we got the Proline dual stage foam and installed it in these Hyrax tires. That's what the video is about. Wow, that was a world of difference. The dual stage foam helped out immensely. The first stage is really soft, so as your tire contacts the ground, it compresses that first stage of foam, gives you the ultimate traction. Now the second stage of the foam on the inside was quite a bit stiffer, so this makes it more rigid. Now when I was climbing things with the stock foam, I noticed as I start climbing, the tire would compress and then the suspension would compress, and it seemed like the vehicle wanted to go over quite a bit more. Then after I put the Proline dual stage foam in here, it didn't compress the tire anymore, just the suspension. So it made it a lot harder or more difficult for my vehicle to fall over when I was side hilling or going up something steep. So those foam inserts are the way to go. I do believe that all of my tires from now on will have the dual stage foam inserts in them. That was a great upgrade, worth every penny. Go get those, you will love it. Next, our last upgrade, no, I'm sorry, it's not our last upgrade. It's upgrade number 8, and that is when I put our Hot Racing piggyback mounted reservoir suspension system on this. Once again, yep, here we go. See, we're talking about shocks again, guys. Suspension is so important to the performance of whatever you're trying to do. Make sure you take care of your suspension. We installed these Hot Racing shocks on here because they came with adjustable rebound, something I didn't have on the other ones. You know, you've got your different weights of oil, you've got your different spring rates, and you've got your different pistons. Well, this shock actually has adjustable rebound on it as well. I love these shocks. They really did help out a lot, and I got the 100mm shocks. The stock is 90, so that gave me the ability to get my tire down into those holes or those pockets a little bit deeper, get myself out of trouble. And I think it did help me wheel over a lot of things. I went back to the same place where I always test this after I did this, and I was able to get up some of the steeper hills a lot easier than I was before. I could make it up, but it took a lot of wheel speed to get up. I was able to go up super slow with these. Now these shocks are great. They work really good. The only problem I have with them, they leak oil. God, all the shocks I've had have leaked oil. I'm telling you, I'm getting ready to go to an air shock here soon. You guys send me comments. Let me know if you have air shocks or if you're running that Desert Lizard or whatever that is. Let me know what you guys think of that. I may end up considering buying a set of those and making a video on them and see how well they perform. I love all the adjustments you have on the oil-filled shocks, but if it just keeps leaking the oil out, I don't know what good it is. I've tried just about everything, the green slime, they just keep leaking. I don't know what to tell you there. Other than that, they are a great shock. Our last upgrade that I have done in 2020 for this right here is going to be our upgrade number 9. And I should remember this, I just did it a week ago. It's going to be the brass portal steering knuckles here that we installed. Now I'm trying to get the brass portals for the rear as well so I can keep some more weight there, but this was a great upgrade. I think these were around 50 bucks. It added 95 grams of weight to each side, which really helped out once again with the side hilling and also climbing things that I couldn't believe I was able to climb it. I could never climb them before. It just kept rearing up and falling over backwards. But with these, it kept it on the ground. Now I did notice, because I don't have the brass portals in the rear yet, that when I was going down really steep hills very slow, it kind of wanted to pick the ass end up just a little bit, like it was going to roll over forward. It never did, but it wanted to. So I had to increase my wheel speed a little bit to keep it from rolling over. When I get the brass portals in the rear and maybe some of my accessories in the bed here, I'm sure it's going to take care of that problem for me, especially if I can find the right suspension that makes me happy. That was impressive. I like that. So guys, those are the upgrades that I have done to 2020. I told you what worked. I told you what didn't work. Now what we got coming up for 2021? You guys know what we're doing next? You've probably got some hints, because we've done everything on the bottom, all the suspension and all of the drivetrain and everything except for the metal drive shafts, which is coming up. And I haven't put any metal axles on this yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or just keep replacing them with the $10 ones. I haven't had any problems yet, but I bet the first time I break one of these steering knuckles off the axle, I'm probably going to get something better. So on some of the newer stuff I got coming out, some of the newer upgrades, we're going to be installing a lot of the electronics on this vehicle. That's right, we're going to take this to the next level. This is going to be a monster. I don't want all you bashers out there to feel left out. I am not done with this eRevo 2.0. I love this rig. This is awesome. As a matter of fact, I've got RPM True Track control arms on their way. Hopefully they're on their way, so that I can do a video install on that. I am also putting an MIP steel drive shaft in here. So those are coming up right away, if the parts ever get here. And then when we move over to this, and I told you we're replacing all the electronics in this, we will be replacing the Firma 40 ES speed controller receiver combo with a larger ESC, a larger receiver, and then we're going to drop in a nice motor, and we're going to be putting in a Reefs Raw 500 servo. So you guys aren't going to want to miss that. So you guys have probably been sitting there reading my shirt, trying to figure out what this was about. I love this shirt, guys. My wife gave me this shirt about 10 years ago, and that's when I was doing all my damage to the Jeep and all the upgrades to the Jeeps that I was out there destroying. And I guess she thought this shirt was fitting. Build it, run it, break it, fix it, repeat. I mean, other than the fix it part on here, I wish it would have said upgrade it. This describes me pretty good, guys. I mean, my entire life, I've been building things and running them, breaking them, modifying them, and making them better, just repeating my whole life, I guess, just like the shirt says. I mean, if you guys have something that, say, your friend or somebody else you hang out with has, there's going to be a certain amount of competition there. I don't care if it's an RC car, if it's a bicycle, if it's a pogo stick. You're going to always try to outdo each other. It's just our nature. It's my competitive spirit. I have it. I bet you guys have it too. Look back in your childhood. When else have you tried to compete and then tried to upgrade what you were competing with to make it better so that you could actually win? That's what it's about, guys. Stock stuff sucks. Upgrade everything. Until the next video, I'm Travis. You're watching Upgraded RC. Peace out, guys.